Okay, 57. We're solving an equation that has a radical in it. Solve them just like you solve anything else with algebra. Move stuff until you can get x by itself. And just move everything by, thinking how can I get it to the other side. So if I want to get rid of a minus 1, I'm going to add 1. It's not any different than any other algebra problem you run into. You just need to get rid of a square root. So you think, well, what would be the opposite or the inverse of a square root? And that would be a square. So you're going to get rid of it by squaring both sides. Now that leaves you x plus 3 equals 5 squared, which is 25. You can subtract 3 and get x equals 22. Now I always like to check and make sure it's right, because every once in a while with a radical problem, the solution is erroneous. It doesn't work when you plug it back in. So we need to check just in case. So I'm going to plug that 22 up here. 22 plus 3 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. Minus 1 would be 4. So it does work, so we're good. Now, a little bit more complicated version. I've got the square root of negative x plus 8 equals x minus 2. So make that small adjustment on your review. Now again, think about how do I get x by itself. Well, first of all, there's a couple of them. So I need to get rid of this radical before I do anything else, because that's just in the way. So to get rid of the radical, I have to square it. Now, you have to square everything. So it'll be x minus 2 squared. So the left side will be just negative x plus 8. So we clean that side up, but we made the right side a little bit messier. X minus 2 squared, remember, squared means times itself. So I like to think of it that way. X minus 2 times x minus 2, which would be x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4, which is really x squared minus 4x plus 4. So now I'm going to go ahead and think about what I would have to do next. Again, you try to get x by itself, but you have that x squared here and an x here. You can't get them together in any way. So you're going to have to think of another solution. So usually what you'll do anytime you have a quadratic is you'll go ahead and just move everything together onto one side. If you can move everything together and have a quadratic on one side of the equation, you can then use factoring or the quadratic formula or even completing the square if you prefer, and you could solve for what you have there. So what I would do from here is try to factor, because that's the easiest. So are there factors of negative 4 that add up to negative 3? And I would hope there are, because that means it's going to be a quick problem. And yeah, you can do negative 4 times 1, and negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So x minus 4 and x plus 1. So the solutions would be 4 and negative 1, just like if you were factoring. Now again, because it has a radical in it, there's a chance that one or both of those don't work. So you need to plug it in and make sure that at least one of them is going to work in the original problem. So remember, the original problem was the square root of negative x plus 8 equals x minus 2, just the red part. So ignore everything except for the red part. And if we plug in the 4, negative 4 plus 8 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. And on the other side, 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2 equals 2. That one works. Okay, let's try the other one, make sure it works as well. Negative 1. Negative 1, that would be positive 1 plus 8 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. Negative 1 minus 2 equals negative 3. 3 does not equal negative 3. That one doesn't work. So just x equals 4.